Good evening, everyone. We will just wait a couple of minutes until everyone has filed in for tonight's presentation on sports science and PE at both Worthing College and Haywards Heath College. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes. If there are any questions, please make sure that you put them in the Q&A box option, and we will look to try and answer them, whether we answer them by typing answers or we answer them live during this broadcast. So again, we'll just wait another couple of minutes before we get started. So for those of you that just joined us, we will wait another couple of minutes just to make sure that as many people get in as possible for tonight's sports science and PE presentation for Worthing College and Haywards Heath College. Any questions, please make sure that throughout the presentation, so if they pop up, just make sure you stick them in the Q&A box, and we will try and answer them throughout this next 40 minutes or so. Okay, I think we're good to go. So welcome everybody and good evening. Hope you're safe and well. My name is Dave Hall. My role at the college is Deputy Head of Learning for sport, PE, sports science, computer science and IT. Tonight's presentation is going to be on sports science and PE based courses both at Worthing College and Haywards Heath College. I'm pleased to be joined by Chris Turner from Worthing College, who is subject lead for sports science and PE. And we've got Emma Gardner, who is teacher of sport and PE at Haywards Heath College. So hopefully between us, we will be able to give you all the information with regards to both campuses and also answer any questions that you may have. Could you go to the next slide, please? So as a way of an introduction, at Worthing College, to start at Worthing College first, the Academy of Sport offers a student provision from level 2 all the way through to level 5, which in a minute I'll show you a little diagram with regards to our progression through the qualification. So for us, that's something that we're extremely proud of, in the essence of being able to offer such a wide range and varied curriculum, which again can suit any style and type of learner. The ethos within our department, so both academically and sports performance wise, is the academic athlete. So we want individuals to pursue excellence both in and out of the classroom. And if you were at the Academy of Sport presentation for Worthing College earlier on in the afternoon, you would have found out some more information there. But don't worry if you missed it, because you'll be able to get those recordings. Again, we want to make sure that people are passionate about their subjects, and obviously with regards to our very curriculum, obviously this gives the opportunity for students to do that. With regards to Haywards Heath, and I know Emma will speak in detail with regards to their offer and their provision as well. They've done fantastically well to obviously start the academic year, because they've just started their delivery as of September, and they are offering a sport and also a PE curriculum. So again, they are starting from small roots, but they are going to continue to grow and continue to be extremely successful. What I will stress to you that throughout this presentation, you are potentially, if you were to apply and to enroll at the college, you are coming into an outstanding Ofsted graded provision. So the group were graded outstanding at Ofsted back in March, and Worthing College played a massive role in that. And obviously how obviously the group have been working, Haywards Heath are a massive part of that as well. Next slide, please. So this is with regards to Worthing College, the kind of the learner journey options. And what I'll do is I'll also drop in the learner journey options for Haywards Heath as well. So at Worthing College, we have level 2 sport, which we'll go through all these qualifications separately in a minute. So level 2 study is linked to the same level that you're studying your GCSEs about at this point in time. I'll talk about more detail with regards to that in a minute. So in terms of level 3 study, which would be the next progression route potentially for you based upon your GCSE grades that you achieve, the idea of it is 3 is the magic number. So the beauty of things at Worthing College at this point in time is obviously the varied options that you could study sport and other subjects at the college. So for example, A-level PE, you would study that alongside 2 other subjects. We also have a sports science option, which is the extended certificate, which is that's what you would study in the first year, and then you'd also do another qualification alongside that, which is equivalent to 1 A-level. The Sports Science Foundation Diploma and the Sport Foundation Diploma are your 3 A-level equivalents, and they're your vocational subjects. So at Haywards Heath, we deliver the A-level PE route. So again, that would allow you to do 2 other subjects. And then the BTEC Sport Foundation Diploma, that is another option that you'd be able to study as well. But obviously that is the only thing you would study. There's progression routes onto the 2nd year. So obviously A-level PE, you go into the 2nd year. The sports science then becomes a diploma plus the 2nd year of your other subjects. And then you've got the extended diplomas in the Sports Science Foundation Diploma and the Sport Foundation Diploma. Don't worry, because again, there's a lot of jargon here, a lot of names. But again, for this diagram, just look at, am I going to study a single subject plus 2 others? Am I going to study a double subject plus another one? Or am I going to study just a subject that covers all 3? Progression routes we'll also talk about later on in the presentation as well. But again, there's lots of opportunities for you to develop with regards to your progression as well. And that's something that is really important to us, because in terms of college, it is a stepping stone. It's only an 18-month, 2-year program potentially. So again, it's a stepping stone onto bigger and better things. And it's things that we're really proud of you going on to doing. So next slide, please. So first of all, this is the BTEC Level 2 sport program. So for Level 2 learners, this course is potentially for people that maybe, again, with the GCSEs, haven't quite got the 5, 9 to 4 grades required. Maybe you need to retake English and maths. The Level 2 is an outstanding qualification in the sense of it gives you that springboard of a year to then progress on to Level 3 study, or progress on to other Level 3 options, employment, etc., etc. So the Level 2 is something that we have delivered now at Worthing College. This isn't available at Haywards Heath yet, but in terms of Worthing College, it's been delivered now for a number of years with a lot of success stories that have gone on and completed Level 3. They've gone on to university. So again, this year is very important in terms of developing confidence of those learners that maybe didn't quite get the GCSEs that they needed to go on to Level 3 study. As you can see, hopefully you can see, it's a bit small to be honest, but we deliver units such as fitness for sport, anatomy and physiology, practical sport, training for personal fitness, promotion and sponsorship, running events, leading activities, and the mind and sports performance, which obviously is very important at the moment. Because obviously we know that the health benefits of physical activity. This is, like all our subjects, supported with a specific work experience program. So for example, for the last 4 years, we've gone into primary schools and we've delivered PE for those children in the summer term. Obviously at the moment, with the current situation with COVID, work experience is potentially up in the air. However, hopefully later on in the year, we will still be able to get all of our students out on work experience placements, because it's very important to us to make sure that our students are work ready for their progression routes that they wish to follow. Next slide, please. So we love to share success on all of our courses, and this is just a couple of headline results with regards to the Level 2 sport program. So first of all, 100% success rate onto Level 3 provision. So to get onto Level 3 provision, you have to achieve a merit at Level 2. So obviously this is your year with us at the college. Last year, we are happy to announce that every single student that wanted to get onto Level 3 had the grades to get onto Level 3. So again, that's something that's really successful, and obviously it's bared fruit already this half term with regards to the Level 2s and how they've progressed onto Level 3. I spoke about the work experience placement. Again, it's something that is revered amongst the college in terms of its structure and in terms of obviously letting those students develop those key employability skills. And back in December, we sat our first exam, which was the fitness exam, and we actually achieved 100% pass rate, which for a level 2 qualification, those results are outstanding, because we obviously usually get that transition between school to college. You know, students obviously not necessarily, or lacking a little bit of confidence maybe. So to achieve 100% exam pass rate was again outstanding. So that's your level 2 sport provision. But please note that is, in terms of entry requirements, that is for students that maybe haven't quite got their 5 9 to 4 GCSEs or English or maths. So next slide, please. So I'm going to hand you over to Chris and Emma, who are going to talk about A-level PE.
Cool, thanks, Dave. So A-level PE at both Worthing College and Haywards Heath, we both follow the AQA exam board specification. In terms of the examined part of A-level PE, this equates to 70% of your final grade. You'll sit 2 papers, which we'll prepare you for over the space of the 2 years of the A-level. And that paper will focus on anatomy and physiology, skill acquisition and sports psychology, and then lastly, sport and society. As we can see, that's probably increased in terms of theory percentage compared to your GCSE PE standard exam. The remaining 30% of your A-level PE practical comes from your practical, but we split that in half. So 50% of that is how good you are in a given sport, and then the other part of that is your coursework. So it's really important for anyone that's interested in studying A-level PE that you strongly consider what level sport and athlete you are, and what that 30% would equate to. So appreciate a lot of GCSE students are probably with us tonight, and you've done a number of different sports for your different assessments or considering that. And I know it's difficult times in terms of evidence for that. But when you come to Worthing College or Haywards Heath, you'll be assessed in one sport specifically, and you'd have to produce coursework for that sport as well. You'll sit 4 hours of lessons a week per A-level. So for A-level PE, you'll have 2 2-hour lessons at Worthing College. And within those lessons, we'll prepare you for that 70% part of your exam. There's no weekly practical, but there's an expectation that students produce practical evidence. A great part of that practical evidence, if you're part of our academy program, is that we can gain that evidence from recording your performances within those academy sports. If you're not in the academy, or your sport isn't one of our academy sports, then you'll be expected to gain that evidence, and then we would assess you from that. Emma, have you got anything to add from a Haywards Heath point of view?
No, that sounds, we follow the same programme with the 4 hours. We've got Chris Haskell and myself both teach the A-level PE, so it spreads out different expertise and sort of different elements of the course that we can both bring to you, really.
Yeah, it's important to add that the exams are a real step up from GCSE PE. There is multiple choice, there is short answer questions, but we also in both exams have to prepare students for 8 and 15 mark responses throughout each of the sections. So a huge part of each exam, over half, is extended question responses. So we spend a lot of time looking at exam structure and preparing our students best for that, whilst obviously building and enhancing their knowledge on anatomy, skill act, psychology, and sport and society. Next slide, please. So really proud to say that Worthing College, we've got some great success on A-level PE. It's a program that's run for a long time and it's been really consistent. So we've had 100% pass rate for the last 6 years. And then we've been in the top 15% for results in the whole country in 4 out of the last 5 years. A-level PE is a really popular subject, and to be in that top 15% really supports the proven program that we plan, deliver, and smash year in, year out. Achievement rate also 100%, which we're really happy to say it's 12.5% above national average. Next slide, please. Cool, so now I'm going to talk you through our sports science program. As Dave mentioned earlier, this is unique and bespoke just to Worthing College. Okay, so it's not currently offered at Haywards Heath College. And what you have with sports science is that you can either do it as a double qualification, so you'd have to study one other subject elsewhere, and then, or you can study it as a triple subject, which means you don't have to pick another subject alongside it, and we call that the foundation diploma. So the double is called the extended certificate. On the screen at the moment are the units you would cover if you came to us and studied the extended certificate, which is the double qualification. Okay, so we have some exams. It's really important to stress that on all new BTEC exams, which ourselves and all colleges now have to deliver, there are examined units. Okay, so on sports science, you'll do 3 exams across 2 years, 2 anatomy and exercise phys focus, and a sports psychology exam. You can also then see how this becomes sports sciencey in terms of field and lab-based testing, fitness testing, research methods. And then we're also really proud to be one of only a few colleges that offer sports massage as a unit. And a lot of our students go on to physiotherapy at university because of that. Next slide for us. And then all you'll see here is this is the foundation diploma units over 2 years. And we can just see where there's more and additional units. So if you pick the triple, you do an exam in nutrition, but you also do additional units such as technology and sport, sports injury assessment, and research project. Next slide for us. With sports science, again, it's a really proven program. Our numbers have grown year on, year out in terms of over the last couple of years, going twofold almost every year across our different qualifications. Sports science diploma in the top 10%, okay, with recent results. So that's 2nd year in a row. And then sports science extended diploma, 15%, top 15% in England. And then achievement rates have been outstanding, obviously along with our outstanding Ofsted grade, have been 24 to 38% above national average, which really supports what we do. A real specific stat that I also like to share with people is a lot of people, especially BTEC students, are daunted by the examined aspects of our qualification. The sports psychology exam on sports science is a 3-hour case study exam, and that normally fears a lot of students, but the grade gets converted. In our last 2 years, our students have averaged 24.5 out of 32 across both of those years. So although they sound daunting, we do prepare students for it, and our grades reflect that. And obviously the successes you can see on the screen also reflect that as well. Next slide for us. Of course, it's over to Dave for sport.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So again, with regards to this just increases the options that you potentially have as students. I've had some great questions on the Q&A section about, do I have to study this? Can I pick, more than one subject? Do I have to study a BTEC, for example, to be in the academy? All the answers to that are the Academy of Sport Provision is something that is separate to your academic study, but it does work hand in hand. So I do suggest that if you did miss, and obviously it was a bit earlier today, it was at 4:30 today for Worthing College, and I know the Haywards Heath one is next week. So make sure if it's Worthing College Academy of Sport that you want to listen to, that you click on the recording that will be out in the next couple of days. So again, just to add to the very curriculum we have a very well established BTEC sport program. So this runs as more of a 3A level equivalent, and it's very wide ranging with regards to the subjects that we deliver. Subjects on BTEC relate to we have mandatory units that we have to deliver, but then there's also optional units that we can pick based upon the needs of the student. So for example, 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of people wanted to be PE teachers. Now, as Chris said, people kind of want to move more into the physiotherapy route. But again, the beauty of that is we do actually have the balance of both areas. So again, it's quite nice if you've got a certain progression route, then obviously you've got lots of options to be able to study here at Worthing College, and also you've got the option to study sport and PE or PE at Haywards Heath. So looking at the sport units, you've got the exams again, which at Worthing College we were ahead of the curve. So we went down this route of this qualification, and along with sports science about 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago now. So with that in mind, I would say we have got the expertise of staff to ensure that students are in the right position to maximise their grade at exam. So in the past, the qualifications have just been pure coursework. So in your first year, and this is highlighted by the yellow boxes, you would do an hour and a half anatomy and physiology exam, and then you would do a fitness training and programming case study exam. So The difference between your regular exam and your case study exam is that you are given a case study a week before or 2 weeks before sometimes the actual exam. And what happens is we actually know the questions of each. So we know the questions that are going to be on the exam, but we don't know what the case study is going to be. And obviously with that week or 2 week window within that case study, we're allowed to do research. So it's in a controlled environment. And then we can take those notes into the exam. So basically a case study exam is where you can take notes into the exam. But again, there's a certain art of doing that. And that's something that we feel we're quite confident with now, obviously with after delivering these kind of qualifications for 4 years. In year one, you'll study things such as professional development. So again, important part with regards to your own progression, sports leadership, sports psychology, practical sport, and research methods. Research methods is massive because obviously if you have aspirations of going to university, again, they're the kind of things that are very important with regards to your development onto university. Obviously, if you don't want to go to university, it is very good just to understand how you can research things and how you can come up with certain conclusions and look at both sides of the story to say it succinctly. In terms of when you're moving on to year two, the two main exams are the development and provision for sports. That's basically sports development, and also sports business. So those 2 units, again, are case study exams. As you can see, they're 2.5 hours and 3 hours long, so quite long. However, I can't stress highly enough, you can take notes into the exam. So obviously there are certain requirements for that, but you can take notes into the exam. So for those of you that are worried about exams, again, you have got that, your research, your revision, all of that kind of structure to be able to make you successful. Year two, we also do application of fitness testing, coaching for performance, sports injury, skill acquisition. Great unit. I love delivering that unit. It allows us to play and and do exciting things, I think, with that unit. And also we deliver sports massage. So again, as Chris said, not many centres do sports massage, but we have the experience, we have the resources to be able to do that effectively. Before I move on to the successes and the data, is there anything with regards to you, Emma, in terms of the nuances with regards to Haywards Heath and the delivery of sport there?
Yeah, just to reassure the learners that or the students, that we are in our first year of opening now, the expertise we have as staff are vast. So I am actually an exam marker for the unit 2. So yes, we haven't been open that long, but the experience that we have and the knowledge that we have isn't anything that you would need to worry about when joining a brand new college like Haywards Heath. We follow the same units. So the breadth of knowledge that you can get, that you can take on to potential careers is obviously fantastic when you choose the level 3 BTEC course. Where we may not have expertise to offer sports massage, we're hopeful that we're going to look at performance analysis. So it's just a different route. It's up and coming within many sports. The whole analysis of techniques, skills, and then how people can improve and hopefully win the sport that they're taking part in.
Okay, thanks for that, Emma. So next slide, please. So again, like all our courses, this is something, I think the big word for me as, as kind of head of department, as it were, is consistency. And year on year, there is consistency throughout all of our provisions, whether it's A-level, whether it's sports science or sport, that the results are consistently high in comparison to other centres and also in terms of grading across the country. So again, as I spoke earlier on level 2, there's been outstanding level 2 progression with students excelling and getting high grades at level 3. So that shows the pathway is working, that confidence is being developed. Again, obviously, we will talk about the staff and the things that they do and the expertise that's shown, but this isn't without the students and the hard work that they put in. So for me, this is something that's very important, that the students are the ones that put in the work. We're the ones that facilitate the environment for them to be successful. Again, out of the last 8 years, for 7 times out of 8, we have been in the top 25% in the country, sometimes even higher, sometimes in the top 10%. So again, that consistency, obviously I know last year with the predictive grades, but what I'm telling you now is the consistency of our results is there to see, and the data doesn't lie. So again, if your son or daughter is applying to come into our department, we can say that we would look after them and they would look after themselves in terms of the work ethic and how they do things. Again, achievement rates are outstanding. So these, in terms of the courses, they range from either 9% to 15% above the national average. So again, we are working towards outstanding levels on a day in, day out basis. Is there anything you'd like to add there, Emma, before we move on?
Just in relation to the courses, I get asked a lot, and I'm sure it's going to come up in the questions, the difference between A-level and BTEC, and which course they should choose. And it's just to reassure everyone that the academic content is on par. It's purely the different methods of assessment that would suit you as an individual.
Yeah, it's a great point. You know, there's a lot of myths flying about. You know, you'd argue that the new BTEC protocols that have been in now for the last 3 or 4 years, you know, they are extremely stringent and robust. And I would argue that, you know, the exams on the BTEC courses are challenging, the same as the you know, the exam requirements on A-level. But obviously the difference is the weighting. So obviously if you're looking at an A-level, you're looking at probably more of a 70-30 split in terms of the exam, whereas maybe on the bigger BTEC courses, you're looking at around about 45% on the exam. In terms of, I had a great question from Flynn. So the requirements of BTEC level 3, it is your, you know, you want to be getting 5 grade 4 to 9s at GCSE. Ideally, if I'm giving you any advice right now, it is English and maths. English and maths need to be, you know, nailed. We want to be getting them above a 4. Obviously there is provision to retake them, but obviously what that does is that kind of, you know, increases your timetable. So if you can get the job done in year 11, then that is perfect. Again, just before we move on, within the academy, is there more than one football team? Yes, there is. So men's football, there's 2 squads, and with regards to the women's team, there's currently 1 squad. But again, because of the nature of the amount of football that's being played, and that's at Worthing College, obviously Haywards Heath, they've got 1 squad at the moment as well. But again, that I'm sure that would progress. But please make sure that you either attend the academy event for Haywards Heath if Haywards Heath is your destination of choice, or please listen back to the Worthing College Academy of Sport recording that went out at 4:30 today. So next slide, please. So progression, we've touched upon it. Again, for me personally, you know, you put in what you get out, or you get in what you put out. With regards to progression, if you've got a mindset, you've got a goal, you know, we will support that massively in the sense of doing what you need to do. I know there was a question earlier about physiotherapy. Obviously, for me personally, you'd be looking at taking a sports science qualification plus a science. But the big advice there would be look at kind of the university entry requirements. So you check the UCAS website if you're not aware of that website, and just seeing what the entry requirements for the certain courses you want to do. So just the graphic here with regards to higher education, it kind of dispels the myth of A-levels and BTEC and vocational qualifications in terms of going to university. You know, if you've got the entry requirements, for me, you know, 9 times out of 10, you know, the world's your oyster. We've had students that have gone all over the country with regards to university progression, and also we've had a lot of students that have gone abroad. The big destination of choice at the moment is America, especially with sports scholarships. So for example, we've had quite a lot of footballers. We've had about 15, 16 footballers so far that have gone out to America, boys and girls. And we've also got a couple of athletes that are looking to go out there this year as well. So again, there's lots of opportunities. So basically, I know it's a bit weird, but start thinking about what you want to do after college now. I know you haven't even decided what you want to do at college, but obviously your progression will kind of define what you do at college as well. So next slide, please. In terms of the facilities at Worthing, so we've got a couple of slides on these. What we've got is we've got access to a gym, state-of-the-art gym with free weights, with all the resistance machines, with all the cardiovascular machines. Again, that's something that's been in place for a number of years. So I think we've been in the building now 6-7 years in this new building. It's run by our gym apprentices who actually are completing their level 3 personal training qualification. So they are basically running the gym for us. We use it for lessons. So as you can see here, we're doing a bit of functional movement screening with one of our Brighton Hove Albion footballers as part of Unit 5. In terms of the classroom as well, we always look to try and make it as interactive as possible. So there's a lot of practical delivery. There's some examples here of a sports coaching unit. So this is pre-COVID, by the way. So boys and girls in sports science, planning some sessions and then delivering them. And then we're always looking at how technology can support learning. And an example here are some player tech vests, which are GPS trackers, and we use them sometimes in lessons, and we also use them as part of the men's football program as well. So next slide, please. So I'll pass you on to Emma, who's going to talk about some facilities.
So these are recent photos taken from our facilities at Haywards Heath. As you can see behind of me, I'm currently sat in our strength and conditioning suite, which is very, very close to finishing if COVID allows us to get delivery of our free weights, as they've been a very popular choice of people's order for home use. But it's a fantastic space where we use kind of theory lessons that have already taken part in here, especially within the anatomy and physiology units. Oh my goodness. Hang on.
I think Emma might have had a power cut.
Okay, so a little bit of a technical thing, but I'm sure Emma will come back to us in a minute. Chris, is there anything you want to add with regards to facilities and what a classroom looks like at Worthing College?
Yeah, so although a lot of our stuff's theory, so I touched on A-level PE being majority theory taught, if we can get you up and active in our facilities in our classroom, you will do. You'll never sit down for 2 hours. We'll definitely get you up and around and active. And a lot of our units, as we discussed earlier, although they're theory-based units, there's practical elements to it. So sports coaching, sports massage, field and lab-based testing, etc. And both Worthing College and Haywards Heath College have great facilities to support students with that. Emma, you're back with us. Did you have power cut?
I'm so sorry. It just shows that we're live. Yeah, then we've got the sports hall, which is a fantastic space. It's definitely a showcase. It's just unfortunate that prospective Haywards Heath students, you can't see it in person, but it's a fantastic space. All the students are desperate to get in there already. So we're really lucky to have that. It just helps with coaching units, as well as being able to be used as part of the academy. Next slide, please.
So I think we've just basically discussed that while Emma was dealing with her power cut. So I think it's the same for Haywards Heath as well. What we try and do is we try and bring the theory to life. So, you know, some examples of classroom work. I know myself and Chris work on things like skill acquisition. So there's a couple of examples there of some of my students playing games. You know, we have a great lesson on learning how to juggle, playing indoor golf, which again we can link to specific theory, which potentially, if we're delivering it just with a PowerPoint presentation and quite didactically, it can be relatively boring for the learner, and also it doesn't sink in. So the important thing, obviously, with memory is that we want to make things that are memorable, so then they can then apply it to their own situations and their own personal experiences. So we've had some great questions about, you know, can we use individual sports for our A-level as well? Yes, of course you can, and also any experience you bring will enhance your learning experience. So again, if you do have any questions, please make sure you're dropping them in the Q&A panel. Another question before we move on is, if you choose a double sports science option, does the extra course have to be an A-level or other BTEC options? Yes, there are other options. So there's CamTech options. So as well as BTEC options, so what you're looking at is you're looking at more single units of study as well. So you'd be looking at things like applied science or business. But again, check out our website for that as well. Next slide, please. So again, we've spoken about that, just some more examples of writing on tables, etc. Next slide, please.
Yeah, so this is just some examples of our students in the last few weeks. So they had some creative play with their individual tubs of Play-Doh, use of their own miniature whiteboards, just different ways that we can enhance the learning, really. Next slide, please.
Okay, great. So we've got some great quotes on the screen. I'm not going to read them out word for word for you. So if you can scan them as I talk through them. But we're really proud of our current students, but also our massive student alumni from over the last 10, 15 years. Here's some current students from the last couple of years, from what they've studied, what grade they achieved, and where they're currently at in terms of their post-college studies, so their undergraduate studies at university. So James Younger was a sport and exercise science diploma student. He also studied an A-level in biology. He's currently at University of Gloucester in his second year doing sports and exercise science. Ellie Middleton achieved an A-star on A-level PE last year. We're really proud of that A-star. She's currently at University of Bath studying sports science. She was also on our netball program. James was also on our football program. And then Eve's a really good example in terms of, she was a sports science triple student and she's able to study physiotherapy. A good question we had a while ago was, what would you recommend for physiotherapy? The standard advice is that you should do the double sports science and A-level biology, because that keeps a lot of your university options open. However, there are some universities that would accept the triple sports science on a physiotherapy course, but it does limit the options you've got there. I think those quotes hopefully echo and support what we're saying. And I asked these students for a quote and they've not been changed at all. And it put a smile on my face that this is what our previous students from last year and a couple of years ago say about the college and what we offer on these courses. Next slide, please.
Thank you. Emma, I'm just going to quickly answer your question. We have a grassed area next to the primary school over the road from the college. It's been brand new. It's brand new. It's been fully turfed. We're actually going to hopefully be able to use it as of April. It's the size. It's going to be 2 football pitches and a rugby pitch. So it's going to be a great space to allow football academy to train on at Haywards Heath. So the student voice, these are 3 of our current students. Just to note that Josh and Mackenzie chose A-level PE for their passion for sport. They didn't actually take the GCSE PE option, but they have both brought their sports enthusiasm to the course and are doing really, really, really well. So just showing that you don't necessarily have to have completed the GCSE course in order to take the A-level or the BTEC option. If it's something that you've decided that you would like to take forward, maybe it's a career option, then it's there for you. Yeah, next slide, please.
Okay, so we haven't got too long left, so we're going to have to kind of potentially whiz through this unless we're allowed a little bit more time, but we may get hooked. I hope we don't. But in terms of enrichment, again, it's about bringing the theory to life. So a couple of examples here with regards to Worthing. We did a trip to Body Worlds last year to link with our anatomy and physiology exam. So again, we had sports science and PE students because they all pretty much study A and P. So again, an outstanding experience, a fantastic attraction. And also we do look to go to universities and especially on sports science and complete practicals in relation to field and lab-based testing. Next slide, please.
Also, I can do this one quite quickly. Unfortunately, this year we've not been able to run a ski trip due to COVID, but in previous years we have planned and run a really successful ski trip to Flachau, which is Ski Armada region in Austria. Hopefully 2021-22, which will be your guys' first year, we'll be able to open this up across Worthing College and Haywards Heath College for you guys to do. If you're a budding skier already, I have been known to ski behind students with film and fall over a couple of times and get video footage for A-level PE assessment. Okay, so yes, it's a great trip and you'll learn life skills, learn how to ski. It's during term time, so slopes are quite quiet. But what's also great is if you are a good skier and want to be assessed as part of your A-level PE program, we can also tick that box whilst we're out there. Next slide, please.
Just a bit about the developing enrichment at Haywards Heath. So we have a link with Haywards Heath Football Club. So we're hoping to use them in order to develop coaching aspects, both being involved in and getting work experience with, hopefully when we're allowed to. Working with local primary schools, we've got the link over the road. We are hopefully going to deliver workshops with sports analysts from professional football clubs and nutrition and specialised fitness workshops. Hoping to deliver these across the Aspire programs that can link both Haywards Heath and Worthing, especially with the delightful technology that we have, which I know mine wasn't great with the power cut earlier, but we can assure you that they will be professionally led. So it's great opportunities for enrichment that we're constantly aiming to do more at Haywards Heath. Next slide, please.
So we are literally coming to the end very quickly. This is just a final example of enrichment, which was linked to the men's football programme. For the last 5 years now, we have gone out to Spain, to Salou, to complete a warm weather training camp in February. Obviously, if you're linked to the Men's Football Academy, you have the opportunity to go there. It obviously does cost, but the experience is pretty much being like a professional athlete for 4 days. It's extremely intense, and you also get to visit the beautiful city of Barcelona. We are still looking to go in February, but obviously at the moment we are tied by the COVID regulations. But again, things have been in place that if they are lifted, we can still go. Next slide, please. So we've kind of answered all of your questions. The only one we may have not answered is, what does a timetable look like at the college? We spoke about kind of three A-levels, 3 A-level equivalent being 12 hours of study a week in class. You're then expected to do 12 hours of study out of class in the form of ISPs, so independent study packs. And then obviously the rest of your time is either training or playing if you're part of an academy program, or it's getting work experience, or it's socializing, because obviously that's very important, or it's actually, working as well. So again, it's what we try and do is the difference between school and college is quite vast in the sense of a timetable. You're not blocked in all the time. Our lessons run from 8:30 till 4. But again, there is that flexibility of having some lessons where you can do independent study as well. The final thing from me, unless there are other questions or Chris or Emma want to mention anything, it's very important our social media following, because again, we do post a lot of things quite regularly. So look to follow us on Instagram with regards to Worthing College at Sport Worthing College. And I'm sure that Haywards Heath will be running some social media extremely soon, because it's really important in terms of being able to get the great message out there of the great work that all of the students do at the college. So is there anything else you would like to add, Chris or Emma?
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate entry criteria for the different courses. So on sport, it's 5 GCSEs between 9 and 4. You need a 4 in English and maths. Sport science is 5 GCSEs again between 9 and 4, but you need 4s in science, English and maths. And PE is 5 GCSEs between 9 and 4, but you need a 5 in science and a 4 in your English and a 4 in your maths. The same is for Haywards Heath as well. Just remember, PE, you would study 2 subjects alongside it, double sport science, 1 subject, and then triple sport and triple sport science. That would be your full program. And then you can bolt on an academy alongside it. Perfect.
Okay, so thank you, everyone. Again, please feel free to contact us if you have any questions. Take care and stay safe.
Thanks. Thank you all.